Hi everyone, this video will be talking about the pre-Hispanic architecture in Luzon. So makikita nyo yung difference ng mga bahay ng Bontoc, Ifugao, Isneg, Apayao, Ivatan, Kalinga, Kankanai and Sagada. The first inhabitants of the Philippines arrived between 3000 to 2000 BC. They were of Malay Polynesians, descent called Astronians. The people lived in groups of 30 to 100 families in society, which is known as barangay. And barangay, as we all know, was headed by a datu or raha, also known as hari or lakan. They were mainly an agricultural, more on agricultural and fishing people. Others were nomadic. Trade with mainland Asia, especially China, was established by these people. In the 14th century, Islam was introduced in Sulu, and the 15th century in Mindanao. In 1521, of course, Magellan stumbled upon the island in his attempt to circumnavigate the world. Now, this was the introductions of the Philippines to the Western world, and then what followed was the 300 years of rule by Spanish and the acceptance of course, the Roman Catholicism, which lead to build of many great Baroque churches here in our country. Now, our ancestors were called Astronians, meaning people of southern islands. They were the first seafarers in the world. Caves and rock shelters like the Tagon Cave in Palawan serve as shelters for early Filipinos. Now, later in on the inventions of various tools, it allowed for the fabrications of tent-like shelters and tree houses. Um, Another one is the early pre-Hispanic houses were characterized by rectangular structures, elevated on steel foundations, and covered by voluminous thatched roof ornaments with gable finials, and its structure can be lifted as a whole and carried to a new site. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng buhatin. Dito yung pumapasok yung bayanihan. And example of the houses are, of course, the Ifugao, bahay kubo, and Maranaos Dorogan. Our ancient Filipinos settled along the shelter bays, mouth rivers, and most of these houses that were constructed side by side along the river are found in Cebu, Leyte, Panay, or even Cagayan. Reasons was the water was the source of their living, and it's permanent or temporary settlement as they need to move on different locations once the supply is not enough. So the slide shows the different houses during the pre-Hispanic. We have the balangay or boat, the pinanahan or lean to. Of course, meron tayo yung cave or kuweba and the tree house. Bontoc is the third-class municipality and the capital of Mountain Province. It's the historical capital of the entire Cordillera region since the inceptions of governance of the Cordillera. It has a population of 24,798 people in 5,035 households, politically subdivided into 16 barangays. The local economy depends largely on its small trade and agriculture. Its biggest economy potential is tourism, and its smaller rice terraces in Barangay Bayo, Maligcon, and other areas. When we say Bontoc is divided in the word Bontoc means bun, ibig sabihin is hip, and tok means the top of the mountain. Kaya tinawag siyang Bontoc. Now, the Bontoc tribes or Bontocons are the fiercest and most warlike. But their advantage was make them the most sociable of all the tribes. They are the native inhabitants of uh, Bontoc Mountain province. Now the slide shows that Bontoc has um, or rather the village consists of the following. Ator means men's meeting place. When we say afang, ito yung kanilang bahay, ang tawag doon ng kanilang bahay. In Cordillera, in Bontoc, Cordillera is afang. Okay, we also have the pabafunan, means boys dormitory. Tangis, girls dormitory. Chapay, the open spaces with flat stones in circular layout, and the akam, the rice granary. The Bontoc had or have a traditions of cloth weaving. The background colors are dark, the favorite being blue. Have a geometric designs like diamonds, triangles, hexagons, and zigzag. Representing designs are the dancing men or women, stairs, leaves, and rice paddies. These are women in yellow, green, white, and red threads. Now, these designs are used in garments and blankets. Now, the pre-Christian Pontok belief system centers on a hierarchy of spirits, the highest being a supreme deity called Lumawag. Um, Another one is the Bontoc believes in the Anito or spirit of their ancestors and in spirits dwellings in nature. They are essential monotheistic. The Bontoc also believes in of course, the Anito. Anito represents the spirit of the dead who must be consulted before anything important is done. Now, the slide shows the section of the House of the Bontoc. They use steep roof made from kubo and grass that grows abundantly near the village. The roof and the granary are both supported by independent open posts and functions. Okay, for the literary arts, they have the riddles, proverbs, aphorisms, sonags, tales, legends, and myth. They also have the word ato, which means a large, compact settlement built among rice terraces and divided into wards. Each ato has a 15 to 50 houses, having a communal center, or also known as chapay. It's a circular open spaces paved with flat stone. Another part for the communal center is the fawi, which means house where old men gather. The pabafunan, also known as dormitories for young men and boys in their adolescence. And the ulog means the dormitory for girls. Now, parts of Fayu, we have of course the Falig or gallery, the Chalanan or Chalanan means through the doorway one enters the ground floor, includes the spaces under the granary, and the Ang-an or the sleeping compartment. For the Fayu, the Bontoc house has the basic forms like that of the Ifugao house, except that the house cage serves as a granary. So the slide shows a very simple plan. It's a square plan identifying the cooking area, the storage, and of course the main door. At the second level, it's the where the sleeping area is located. Okay, so here's the blow up section of the Bontoc houses, wherein they have a spaces for granary, meaning the falig. They also have the cooking area, the soklot. They have the tapan or the pounding area, and the ang-an or the sleeping area. Now, traditionally, Bontoc house was made of wood or kogon grass. It was a pyramid shape or an A shape. It was a small and had an only or had one bedroom, such that one member of the family could not be accommodated. Aside from the bedroom, the traditional Bontoc house had another room with different divisions. They have, of course, the kitchen, a space for dining, and at the same time for receiving visitors. A space for some parallel piece of wood nailed together to serve as a multi-purpose table. Now, below it is a space for chicken cubs, ginagamit nila for storage. No? Doon nilalagay yung mga garden tools, yung mga na-harvest nilang kamote, root crops, kahit nga yung mga baskets doon nila nilalagay. It's a space above the room. No? Um, and of course, since there was only one bedroom, the male teenager had to sleep in the ato, while the female counterpart would go to ulog. Here's another section of Bontoc house, having a square type plan. The Bontoc houses were arranged, no? The areas were arranged from the doorway to the rear portion of the house. The Ifugao is a landlocked province of the Philippines in Cordillera Administrative Region in Luzon. Its capital is Lagawe, and its borders Benguet to the west, Mountain Province to the north, Isabela to the east, and Nueva Vizcaya to the south. The rice terraces of the Philippines, Cordillera, and the Banawi rice terraces are among the tourist attractions in the Philippines. Now, these terraces are believed to have been hand curved into the mountains 2,000 years ago at of course, for planting rice. Recent research of carbon dating suggests that they were built much later in 1995. The rice terraces of the Philippine Cordillera was declared as a UNESCO World Heritage, and in 2008, the had front chants of the Ifugao and the Puno tagging rituals and games were described in the UNESCO. The Ifugao house were usually similar in architectural design, but differ in decorative details depending on the tribe kung sino natitira. Their houses were harmoniously located with the contour of the rice terraces. The one room of the Ifugao, commonly known to them as Pale, The exterior of the house seems to be nothing but a pyramid resting on four posts, while the interior spaces is enclosed by slanting walls and ceilings that appear to be spherical that are formed by the loft. Bale or vale ang tawag sa bahay ng Ifugao. So, basically, ang floor plan ng bahay nila is parang a square type having a size of 4.37 by 4.37 as shown in the slide. Now, pag meron ka raw na bench, no, ang tawag dyan is hagabi or also known as bench. Ikaw ay isang manyaman. No? It's a status symbol for the rich Ifugaos. Here's the section of Ifugao house wherein the following parts we have atop or also known as roof, the gaob or walls or wall boards. We also have the tukod, also known as post. Here's a row up sections of Ifugao house. For the functionality, Ifugao house have three functional level: ground, second, and the third. The second level used for living quarters, and for the third level is used for the granary. The ground is consists of a post having a wooden disc, which was called as olyang, prevent rats, no, rodents from entering the house. The second level of the living or the living area was accessible through removable ladder, so natatanggal yung hagdan. The social affairs, eating, cooking, and sleeping are all done in this area. At the third level, there was the patay, that is a shelf that extends from the wallboard outwards to the underside of the roof. It serves as the storage area and as a structural support of the roof. You know. Inside the house was embedded rows of skulls of animals offered to God during their annual rituals and also as a source of pride to the homeowners. So the plan shows an enclosed structure in square plan, uh, has a height from natural grade line to the finished floor line of 2 meters or 1.5 to 2 meters high with three trunk as columns. A fireplace is located at far right hand of the house. Shelves above the fireplace are provided by the storage of allies and firewoods. For the structural element, yung kanilang four columns were are binabaon na ng half meter. Then they also have a floor girders that are carved with mortise on both ends to fit in the pointer's upper end of the post, which acts as a cannons. The roof is pyramidal, covering with reeds and grasses. The carbo skulls and the big jaws are used as indications of status of keeping peace with God. They also have the ambubulan figures form place on top of the roof and is used as protections against the evil spirit and lightning and a sign of asking a favor from God, also known as Gabunyang. Now, having this decorative element is an indication of Ifugao's wealth. The rice terraces of Philippine Cordilleras were inscribed by UNESCO's World Heritage List in 1995. the first ever property to be included in the cultural landscape category in the World Heritage List. This inscription has five sites, so meron limang sites under the Ifugao, the Bataan rice terraces, the Bangaan rice terraces. We have Mayoyao rice terraces, Punduan rice terraces, and the Nagakan rice terraces, all in Ifugao province. The Ifugao rice terraces reach a higher altitude and were built in steeper slope than many other terraces. The Ifugao complex of stone or mud walls, and of course the careful carving of natural contours of hills, mountains to make terrace pond fields, coupled with the development of intricate irrigation system, harvesting water from the forest to the mountain tops, and elaborate farming systems. Isnag people, or also referred as Isneg, and Apayao, are an Estonian ethnic group native to Apayao province in Cordillera Administrative Region. Their native language is Isneg, or also called Isnag, although most Isnag also speaks Ilocano. There are two major subgroups among the Isnag are known. The Mandaya, mostly concentrated in the municipality of Kalanasan, and the Imalod, with the populations distributed among the other towns of the province. The snag population can also be found in the eastern part of the adjacent province of Ilocos Norte and Cagayan. The Snag tribe, also known as Isnag or Apayao, lives at the northwesterly end of northern Luzon, in the upper half of the Cordillera province of Apayao. The term Isneg derives from a combination of is, meaning recede, and uneg, meaning interior. Means people who have gone into the interior. The Isneg people, or the Isneg group of people, are known for their fine construction, especially in their unique roof system. The Isneg by kubo use wood for posts, girders, joists, and walls. They also use thatch or bamboo for the roofing. The typical snag house reflect their traditional code. An interesting features of the snag or snag house is the way the bamboo roof is constructed. Most bahay kubo roofs are made out of dried leaves tied together, while the snag tribe uses bamboo shingles for their roof construction to provide stability. The roof of a snag house resembles an inverted hull. For the plan, the main flooring is elevated at the 1.5 above the ground. It has a single room rectangular structure designed for three levels, namely the lowest level, wherein the tag or kasalan is located. We also have the immediate level, known as Ramuyon, and the highest level, where the Tarakip is located. Here's the cross section of the snake house, or imposed or distributed in the following manner. We have the Sinit post. Six of these posts supports the Datag, and two supports the Tarakip. We also have the Adiki post. Six of these supports the roof. The Atobrolbo is a single post supporting the ridge pole. Balay or house is the traditional type of house in Apayao. with an elevated rectangular one-room structure and protected by high-pitched thatch roof that resembles a point barrel vault. The slide shows the parts of an Apayao house. The Ivatan house is made primarily of lime, stone, wood, and thatch. It is commonly consists of two structures, magkahiwalay yung kanilang pinaka-main house and the kitchen or storage area. Dahil nga yan yung pinaka-main entry point ng bagyo. No? The main house has the larger area and is usually made of limestone, wood, and thatch. The heavier materials, which is lime and stone, provides better shelter against patuloy na pag-uulan. No? The kitchen or storage area is usually made of wood and thatch. Now, compared to the bahay kubo and the bahay na bato, medyo mababa yung kanilang ceiling. No? They have lower ceiling, approximately around 1.6 to 2 meters lang ang taas ng kanilang ceiling. And a smaller door and window opening to keep the interior warm. Now, meron ding ibang mga Ivatan house na merong attic. Here's the section of an Ivatan house. The structural elements consist of the walls made of lime and stone, sometimes embedded with wooden reinforcement in order to resist the effect of a strong earthquake. The reinforcement runs from the haze up to the roof frame. There are three types of Ivatan thatch house. One is Kamadid. Kamadid is an Ivatan type of house with its enclosing lower portions built of wood, while yung taas niya, the upper portion is built of cocoon grass. The other one is the Rahaung. Rahaung is an Ivatan structure used as a working area and place of storage for fishing implements. The structure does not have any wall enclosure, exposing posts that supports line roof and a thick gabled cocoon roof, either with or without gabled walls, made from cocoon and reeds. The other part of that house is the Jinjin, a type of house with a timber frame structure which use reeds and cocoon materials for its walls and the roofing. There are four types of Kalinga house. We have Pilito. It's a wooden chubby octagonal shaped, used for noble family house, for Kachangyan. The other one is Pilitong or Peletong. It's a wooden job in square shape. It is used by wealthy family known as Baklang. Number three is Bilulilaw or Bilulilaw. It's a bamboo panel house for marginal families or kapus. The last is the Takubi. It's a house for or a shanty dwelling of the impoverished. Now, early Kalinga houses were built without using any single nail. They use a payong instead. It's a wood joint or a fasteners, which is more durable and can last longer since it allows the wood to move with the seasonal shrinkage and expansion. Such ancient architecture is also perfect for a tropical country like our country. It allows a whole house ventilations. Now, because of its elevated post, litagon flooring, front and back outlets, Such ingenuity of our ancestors. As per NCCA, they found out that the Kalinga people were one of the ancient civilizations. Fori is the traditional house of Kalingas. It is composed of an elevated rectangular one-room house of a timber materials and a thick roofing made from 8 to 10 layers of cut bamboo. The walls is removable for ventilations and it has an elevated flooring for seating and sleeping. Here's the elevations or sections of a Kalinga house. Taloob means roof. Agakan is a secondary ridge beam. Sawang, known as door. Ina is a main interior post, and the tukod is an exterior post. Here's a detailed isometric view of Kalinga House. The structural element of Kalinga House consists of a 12 post used as support to the Binayon house. The square central portion of the house is defined and supported by four posts, while the other posts are distributed on the four corners. The lower part of the wall is made of plated bamboo or sawali, which raised up to the floor level, while the upper portions up to the eaves are made of a wooden boards riveted to the exterior floor. The Kankanai people are indigenous people of northern Philippines. They are part of the collective group of the indigenous people known as the Igorot. Like most of the Igorot ethnic groups, the Kankanai built a sloping terrace to maximize farm space in the rugged terrain of the Cordillera administrative regions. There are two famous institutions of the Kankanai of Mountain Province, and these are the Dapay, the men's dormitory and the civic center, and the Ebgan, the girls' dormitory, where courtships between the young men and women took place. The Kankanai house are built like the other Igorot houses, which reflect the social status. Babayan is an elevated square one-room house of the Kankanai and Ibaloy, with four thick posts supporting a timber upper floor and a steep hip-type roof of kugon grass. The lower end of the roof flared out similar to the roof of the Bontocs and the Kalinga houses. Here's the elevation section of a Kankanai house, wherein Saptitan is the winding rafters, the Kalasud is the queen post. We also have the Shatal, known as the floorboard, and the Tukod, known as the post or the structural post. Here's the blow up isometric plan of a Kankanai house. Sagada, or officially the municipality of Sagada, is a fifth class municipality of the province of Mountain Province. And according to the 2015 census, meron siyang population na 11,127 people. It is adjacent to the Bontoc provincial capital. Sagada is famous of its hanging coffin. This is a traditional way of burying people that is still utilized. Popular activities includes the trekking, exploring both caves, waterfalls, spelunking, bonfire, picnic, rappelling, visiting historical sites. Guides can be found upon the registrations of the tourist office of the Sagada proper. Now, according to the legend, Sagada is found as an ili or village by Biang, a man from Bika in eastern Abra. The people from Bika were forced out there raiding headhunters. Now, Biag's family resettled in Canton, Ilocos, but when baptized or the giving of names was enforced, Biag's family chose to move back to the mountain in search of the settlement. So, for the Sagada, ang pangalan ng bahay is Tiknobob no, house. No? So, for the Tiknobob house, ang kanyang roofing ay very stiff. At yung walls niya, yung exterior walls niya ay maliit lang. No? Hindi gaano exposed. No? So, there are two types or independent structures, the main house and the granary. Here's the blow-up isometric of a Sagada house. And we have atep known as roof, the dapuan, dito nagluluto, no, the cooking area. We have the kamadig used for storage, the lumeng for pig pen, no, kapag ng mga alagang baboy. Then we have the segpan, the doorway, the agtan or ladder, and they have also the agmang or the central granary.